I should put it in front of me. It looks cool when you have a microphone in front of you. You know what I mean?
How does Harry not? How can like did you ask Harry to help you with that? Because I feel like it's kind of
It,
easy, right? It should be.
it should be pretty
That's
easy.
straightforward.
Yeah. Hi, hey, Echo. What's up? Just talking with my son Nelson. So we are live. With Nelson Wu, my son. And actually, Echo, you guys are in the same time zone.
Oh, nice. They're the West Coast. So
Yeah,
yes,
he's up.
oh,
He's up.
nice, nice, nice.
He's north of you. He's in the Pacific Northwest. So, first question: If I don't have, how do I decompress my spine if I don't have anything to hang on?
Oh, that's a good question. I have no idea, to be honest. I don't know if I believe in that hype, but I hear a lot of people are just like hanging from bars and just letting the weight just like decompress their spine that way. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's true or not. I've never done it myself.
I mean, that's what I want to do, but I don't have anything really to hang on.
Yeah.
Where my
I
feet
mean,
are totally off the ground, but I feel like I'm like all compressed.
it means that you should join a gym. Maybe that's how you'll find the bar.
Well, everything changes after September. You know that, right?
What do you mean?
I mean, I'm done work.
Oh yeah, it's true, true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
I'm
you have
done work.
plenty of time. No
So,
excuses. No excuses.
so I won't. My body won't feel like it's getting beat up every day.
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking about having Harry join the gym, and like 3 days a week, he can just wake up early, drive straight up the street.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, just to do. He's got to do some kind of exercise. You know.
I mean, he's going back to college soon, so
I know.
it's hard.
Hey, Nye, how are you?
How's it going?
Anyway, for pre-Father's Day, since my son is on the West Coast, everybody, I decided to just have him come on. We were just going to chit-chat about movies a little bit. And that's pretty much it. As some of you know, we went to see the Three Kings Horror Bowl instead of going to the Super Bowl on Super Bowl Sunday. And so I was just going to ask, Nelson, what his thoughts were about that. He just asked me when it was. Yeah, but you actually made it back in time. Did you see some? You saw some of the game that night.
Yeah, so like it was we made it back, we rushed back, and it was nice because we caught the tail end of it. And I think and the half no, actually no, that's a lie. We saw the halftime show too, so we are definitely back for that.
Okay, that's cool.
Um yeah, I know that there was like a big community party kind of at this place, so we were able to see other people. There's a lot of food, there's a lot of talking, just like enjoying the moment, whatnot. Yeah, it was like the whole neighborhood was a buzz, and it was good seeing both the Creep show and also the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Um, I think were you asleep in the car when we were coming back into Philly and all the
Probably,
lights were
yeah.
green? Yeah, I
Honestly,
think you were asleep.
probably.
Yeah, I think you were asleep. But that was cool to see they had all the buildings had like green lights coming back.
Mm.
But yeah, of course we as I mentioned before, we couldn't stay for The Shining. We had to leave for that. But so just you had never seen either one of the movies that we watched before. So just
Nope.
you had no idea what you were getting into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely I mean, I feel like I haven't seen a lot of movies that you've seen, and these are like classics of the genre, so apparently, it's kind of like definitely a pleasure to see, especially since like they're in a sense like kind of far removed from like the typical scary movies that you see today.
Yeah.
Just because like they're not showing them anymore, but I think they also have a different like feel to them as well. So it's definitely a sight to see.
Yeah. Hey, Man and Steven, our new friend. How are you guys?
How's it going?
And of course, Nye and Echo are on here. Yeah. What did you think of the way that Creepshow looked in the theater? I didn't know it was going to look like that.
What do you mean, like
It was all grainy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I feel like because it's such an old, like they're the old like movies, right? They're old like that it kind of would be,
Yeah.
Even though Christine, right? That is that what the name
The
was?
second one was Christine.
Yeah. That was like it felt like that was like a modern day, like a 2023 movie, and I was like, wow, this is great.
That was
Yeah, I think didn't that surprise you too? Like the way that look and feel of it, it felt like it was
Yes.
a very like
Yeah. Yeah.
typical scary movie you'd see today.
Yeah. I mean, they were both in 35 millimeter, but the print of Creepshow was just grainy and washed out a little bit, and
Yeah.
which kind of like was seemed to be like, that's probably the way that a lot of people watched it back in the day. They watched it on TVs that, nobody had a 4K back then, so,
Hmm.
but Christine looked pristine,
Pristine.
actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
that.
I mean, and really, I've seen it a few times. I got totally sucked into it.
Mhm.
And yeah, that really looked good. I mean, the teenagers all look like they're about 23, 24, but that's the way it was.
Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I feel like with that's kind of the vibe that they were. Or I guess like that was what they would typically see back in the day, and obviously now it's like I actually don't. I feel like actors now still look older than they're played like their actual counterparts
Yeah.
on the screen. So
Yeah.
it's nothing new.
Yeah. Yeah. So as far as Creepshow, what was your favorite segment?
I think I don't know if it was supposed to be funny. I just got I was laughing a lot. I found myself like giggling throughout the whole entire skit of it, but it was definitely the birthday one. It was like for
Father's
like
Day, not
Father's Day. Sorry, Father's Day. Father's Day. It was like it's just like I feel like the tropes of horror movies are very like, oh, like don't walk by yourself into this graveyard, especially when you're drunk and there's something there's something's going on. It's kind of like characters dying left and right, but in a very comedic kind of way.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
don't know if that's because of the whole grainy situation or if it was because it was just like how they were kind of like created back then. But I thought it was pretty funny how they executed that.
yeah.
Um, I don't know the name of it either, but it was like the one that I found like most intriguing or like the most suspenseful would be the one where they bury them alive like on the beach or on the
Yeah.
shore,
Yep.
and then
Something
like they
that
came back.
tied you over.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that was just like a very like I think they did a very good job of like just building that suspense and like
Mhm.
where people were going to be placed and the actual like cosmetics of like the makeup that they did on them was
Yeah,
pretty horrific as well. So I was
yeah,
like, oh, okay, that's pretty scary. So yeah, they did a pretty good job with that. And then actually, I just remembered the other one that we saw too. It was like the one where like he was growing like plants from his body in the house and whatnot, like
yeah,
some kind of fungus from like an alien asteroid.
yeah.
I'm sure you
When he got
know the name of it.
when he got
Uh,
meteor shit on him.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then he just kept on waking up with more and more stuff on him. Um, that was just interesting to see. I don't know
Yeah,
if it
that
was
was,
funny or not,
as I
but
told you,
yeah.
that was Stephen King
Yeah,
himself.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
is crazy to believe, like, it's like he does, like, all this other work and he's,
yeah,
like, playing this, like, ridiculous,
yeah,
like, farmer on his own, like, land, so definitely interesting to see, but, it was definitely a good time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
How about you? What was your favorite one?
Well, it's funny because I just read somebody's ranking and they had it like almost like backwards the way I would rank it. People seem to have them all over the place. For me, the crate is probably might be number one. Uh,
Oh, right,
don't
right, I
the,
forgot about that
the
one.
yeah,
The
the gorilla
monster,
like
yeah,
creature
yeah.
in the crate. Yeah. Um, and then maybe Father's Day might be number two, and something that tied you over might be number three. I don't know. It's hard.
Mhm,
But
yeah.
I just saw a ranking where somebody put the last one with, which is the only one that the title of which is escaping me now. The one with Upton Pratt and the
Mhm.
cockroaches. They
Oh,
had that
right,
one.
yeah,
Yeah, they had that one as number one, and they were like, "Wow, the guy's such a good actor." Yeah, I know he's a good actor, E.G. Marshall, but that's not. It's still, I thought everybody was a good actor.
yeah, yeah.
It still wasn't my favorite, but uh, yeah, but overall, I mean, that's a pretty revered anthology, because all the segments are fun in a way, and you got the gore and the comedy.
Mhm.
I've gone down a whole anthology rabbit hole recently. Now what's weird, but you mentioned the one. You mentioned the story about the dead body in the apartment and the water dripping from Black Sunday, from
What do you
Black Sabbath. I mean,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Um, So wait, which one was that? Sorry, remind me again.
You described a segment of the anthology Black Sabbath, which was out
Which was
in out in the 60s. I mean, it's
okay.
and it's weird that you described it because I don't remember watching it with you. You know what I mean?
I don't remember watching it. I mean, to be honest, like these are you'll have to remind me again because I just it's been some time since then. But um, yeah, just like refresh my memory if you can.
Yeah, I agree. Now the cockroaches, it's yeah, good. Just yeah, something to tide you over in Father's Day. I both have those great comedic touches.
Yeah.
But they're all very close. You know, a lot of times in an anthology, there's like one really good one, and then there's like an average one or two, and then
Hmm.
there's like a dud, or depending on how many segments they have, and then people remember it for like the really good one, and then you go back and watch it, and you got to go through the other ones, and it's like, oh boy,
Yeah.
uh, but this one, Creepshow's fun, because recently I just watched the original. You've heard of Tales from the Crypt, right?
Yeah. For the script.
It's been a show on HBO years ago, but it was originally a movie in the early 70s,
Mm-hmm.
based on horror comics, and that's one where pretty much every segment is pretty good, and there's
Mm-hmm.
two good standout ones. And then they came out with Vault of Horror after that, and actually Nye likes Vault of Horror even more than Tales from the Crypt, I think she said.
Mm-hmm.
But Vault of Horror is good too. Those are fun. Um,
Yeah.
a
You
lot
know
of
what I
that's
did get though? It was like like the overlooming. It was like part of another like kind of like an overarching story of like
yeah,
this family.
yeah,
Well, is that like just for the atmosphere of like, oh, like this is like
yeah,
kind of like breaking the third wall kind of thing, or was it,
yeah.
or the fourth wall, or I guess the third wall? But like, was that supposed to be scary in itself, or was that
Yeah,
just supposed to be like filler to like kind of like place the
it
see like
ties
where the
it kind of tied everything together since the kid is
yeah
reading comic books and their comic book stories, you know,
yeah
and in that one they had a lot of little jokes. The little kid is actually Joe Hill, who's actually Stephen King's son,
oh okay
who actually he's the guy that wrote Black Phone, the movie. Just came out.
oh okay
Yeah. So
like the most recent one
yeah, or directed it, I believe. Yeah. So he's,
okay
I'm not sure at what point his name became Joe Hill. I don't know anything about that, but that's him. And then the one guy at the end, with the garbage guy, when they're picking up the comics,
yeah
and
yeah
he's like, "Oh, someone got the X-ray vision goggles. We can't get those." That's hilarious because all the comics had all that fake stuff in the back that you can send
uh
away for. But that guy, the one guy, was Tom Savini, who does all the special effects. So
yeah that's nice that they included them in like that little skit, just give them some FaceTime and whatnot.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, like the Tales from the Crypt. I mean, it takes place in a crypt, and people are on a tour of a crypt and they get trapped in there, and then an old creepy guy tells a story about each one of them. He's the crypt
Mhm.
keeper. So that's like
Yeah
the background. So they go back to it in between each story. So
yeah
I mean, personally, I think that a whole wraparound segment is actually kind of important to the feel of the whole thing.
yeah no I agree with you. I think actually I don't know if that's what spawned like the current um I guess like atmospheric approach to scary movies these days. Like I know in VHS they kind of do a similar thing where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, they find these tapes in like this abandoned house, and then
Mhm,
like
mhm.
slowly but surely after every single story, there's like something that moves. Like you
Yeah,
come
yeah,
back to the people watching it, and then like that chair wasn't there before, or like things were like moving in the background that the audience sees, but the characters in the
right,
actual
right,
scene
right.
don't see.
Yeah,
And that's like terrifying. I
yeah,
remember watching those and like I was like, wow, like this is. I mean, they're definitely a less comedic approach, but also like
yeah,
very jarring to say the least.
yeah, yeah. No, yeah, I like when a little something happens in between each segment rather than
Mhm.
someone just saying, "Well, here's the next story." You know,
Right,
it
right, right,
kind of
right.
it
Yeah,
kind of builds up to something that happens at the end. Um,
right.
there's one called Asylum where this new doctor shows up at a mental hospital, and they say the first thing they tell him is, "Well, the old doctor went insane. The doctor you're supposed to say just went insane. So you're going to interview, I forget if it's 4 or 5. You're going to interview 5 people, and you're going to
Mm,
tell us who the insane one, who the doctor is." And then so as he interviews them, you learn the story about why they're in the mental asylum. But then when
right.
you get to the last segment, they don't cut away to a flashback. It just unfolds in the hospital. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And that was like clever because you expect him to like leave and go to another flashback, but then the
Yeah.
rest of the story plays out in sort of like the host segment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's definitely, I think that's also, like, what captivates the audience as well, because it's like, you guys aren't just watching these videos and, like, again, to your point, it's not like jumping from the next story to the next story. It's like, okay, now you guys have something to look forward to. You know something is gonna happen at the end of it, but you don't know what's gonna happen, so stay tuned for that, and I think it really does engage your audience a little more in terms of, like, storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, there's an old one, Vincent Price is in one of the segments, and what is it called? Can't remember, of course, but it's actually, a lot of them were based on Edgar Allan Poe stories, but this one was they were all based on Nathaniel Hawthorne stories. So
Mhm.
basically, it's just a big book and a skeleton hand turns the page, and there's one story, and then it turns the page, and there's a second story, and then a third story. And I mean, that was kind of cool, but it's not quite the same.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't give the same effect, but I think they're I mean, maybe it's, like, with the more, uh, modern times that they're, like, trying to build off of, like, what they did in the past, and I think that's why it's, like, a little different from, like, just comic book flips or whatever,
Yeah.
what have you, but it's still interesting regardless of how you
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, I've seen. I had vague memories of Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath. Nye says she's seen it once, but I
Mhm.
rewatched it a while ago because I got a documentary about anthologies, and they had some like every picture on the cover. I was like, I've seen most of these. They had Fluffy, the ape from Creepshow, uh,
Mhm.
but they had Boris Karloff's face from Black Sabbath. So I said I got to rewatch that one, and they had like the one of the famous ones is called Dead of Night from the 1940s, and I think it's the first one that had like a creepy puppet, like a ventriloquist puppet,
Okay.
that which has been done many, many times since then. You know,
Yeah. I
yeah.
don't like those.
No, I'm like,
I don't like those. I'm
well,
not a fan of those.
I told the story on the channel before. The story about the marionettes. Grandma brought me back from Mexico, right?
No, I don't think so.
Marionettes get the little.
I know what they are, but I don't think
Yeah.
I've heard that story before.
Well, when a kid plays with them, they just get the strings tangled up.
Mhm.
We even had at Children's Discovery Center. They even had a like little mini puppet theater once, and the kids
Okay.
would just constantly tangle the puppets up because they were like grabbing them and stuff. And I was like, they're not old enough for this, so we put it away. But anyway,
Mhm.
so Grandma takes the puppet, the marionette. She hangs it on a hanger in my closet. Okay,
Mhm.
okay, and for some reason the door would always be open. I don't know if it was like a folding door or whatever. So the thing is like hanging there, right? And it's like this big, but
Mhm.
the head is disproportionately big to the body, and it's got these like huge eyes.
Okay.
It's just kind of like hanging there like this, like kind of like
Right.
rock, you know, back and forth. And there's little me in the bed with the covers up to here, look, trying not to stare at it. I was
Mm.
like, I mean, you couldn't make a scenario more scary to a kid than that.
Yeah, even if like the ninja wasn't in there with it.
Right? Yeah,
Trying yeah,
yeah. I think this was pre Ninja days.
pre-ninja days. Okay,
Yeah,
that makes
ninjas
sense.
hadn't really taken over. I was still watching Kung Fu Theater, of course, but
Mm.
the ninja craze took off in like the 80s, really.
Okay. Okay, so pre-ninja days. All right, that's yeah. I mean, it's pretty terrifying. I don't
Yeah,
think I would be into that as well. But yeah, I mean, just dolls in general.
yeah,
I just like I feel like those kinds of movies really just mess me up eternally. And I
yep,
don't know if it's like I think it was Chucky that was like the first one that was like really just like I don't want to like watch this. Or I don't think I've even seen a Chucky movie actually, just because I don't really particularly like those.
yeah, yeah.
Um, just like the thought of it, it's it terrifies me. But there was like I think a recent one where it was kind of like an AI doll or something, or
Yeah, they had
um,
a Chucky one. Yeah.
no, no,
Oh,
I'm talking about
Megan?
like a
You
movie.
Megan?
Yeah, yeah, like yeah, Megan. That's what it was. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know if it was AI or whatever, or if it was just like a really advanced robot or something like that. But yeah, I saw that. I think that was highly reviewed and praised or what have you. But I haven't seen that yet. But I just don't care for those movies.
yeah, yeah. I want to see it. I just haven't, you know, uh, just gotten around to it. But yeah, they can
Yeah.
be creepy. I mean, the one of the scariest movies I ever saw when I was young, that I probably shouldn't have seen was, and I mentioned this many times on the channel, was Tourist Trap, which features mannequins that are kind of alive, and there's a guy that has telekinesis and they're moving and laughing and stuff. So I saw that in my room, and like the late 70s by myself
Mhm.
in the afternoon, and it was completely uncut on TV. And the director thought it was going to be rated R. He was shocked that it was rated PG. Remember
Yeah.
back then there was no in between. There was no PG-13.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, there's like
so you watch some PG movies from back then, and there's some like crazy stuff in them, you know.
yeah.
Yeah. So that like pretty much terrified me, even though it was like broad daylight when I was
It
watching
reminds me of what was Jaws rated? Rated R or was it rated
PG.
PG? But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, wild stuff they did back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
They got away with.
Yeah, you were allowed a couple. You know, I think they had like some rules of thumb, like you can have one F bomb, but not two, and a couple other bad words, and then a couple of bloody scenes. And well, Harry and I watched Raiders of the Lost Ark a while ago. I don't think you did. Have you guys watched that? No,
I don't think so.
no, yeah. There's a nice face melting scene at the end of that. Graphic stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill, what's up? How you doing? And Waffles is in the house. Heroic Waffles. Bill is in Canada and Waffles is in Jersey with us. Yeah, Gargoyles. Yes, Nye. Well, Gargoyles did scare me a little bit. Now I watched that. The story of Gargoyles is I watched that with my dad. This is a movie now, so not the cartoon.
Okay.
Good cartoon though.
Great cartoon. Yeah, great cartoon.
Yeah, I actually kind of want to go back and watch it. Amanda Wu is in his house.
Wow, Amanda Wu. No way.
Hi, Amanda. But yeah, no, Gargoyles I watched with Grandpa, and it's a made-for-TV movie, but it's pretty creepy. It's not like bloody; it's creepy. And the guy who did the masks, the gargoyle masks, and gargoyle like suits. I mean, he did the special effects are good, is what I'm saying, and creepy. So yeah, it kind of creeped me out, but I was with my dad, so it didn't creep me out as much. And I guess I knew that I was probably not going to run into any gargoyles, but you go to the department store and there's mannequins in the department store. So, but yeah, gargoyles. Yeah, that's a great made-for-TV movie. Yeah, they were still kind of on TV back when we were back in the apartment. I don't know if we really saw any good ones. I've had Harry go back and watch Duel. That's Steven's. Did you ever see that?
I think so. I mean, maybe if you told me like a scene from it, I won't remember these names off the top of my head.
Yeah. There's just a random guy starts getting followed by a truck, and it just won't leave him alone. It keeps following him. It's
kind of like a hello, governor.
Yeah, right. Like, hello, governor. Hello,
governor.
What was the name of the show?
Regular show.
Yeah, regular show.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was they took that idea from probably a bunch of different things. Like in one of the Tales from the Crypt segments, there's a guy who's dead, but then the guy that killed him is like driving in a motorcycle following when you can't see it, and when he looks up, it's like there's like a skull under the helmet and stuff,
Yeah. Actually, I didn't mention it. Like the Tales from the Crypt, I think that's what they were calling on regular show, like Tales from the Park or something like that. So like
Tales from the Park, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like a very like I guess like cheeky spin off of the name. Yeah.
Yeah. Now a lot of the writers of those shows were putting in the jokes for adults,
Yeah.
That's why
yeah, a lot of like the cartoon shows, especially back in the day, they had so much like humor, like adult humor. Yeah. I think they did it like specifically for the adults that were like watching it with their kids. Regular show, I have no idea. Like I feel like it was definitely ahead of its time in terms of like the humor that they put into it. Also, like just like it's enjoyable for everyone. It wasn't just for kids. It wasn't just for adults. It was for like all audiences.
Yeah, I usually watched it. I mean, when Harry's watching, I usually watch it.
Hey, yeah, no, you're in the background. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But what were some of the names of the heavy metal bands in that one episode?
It's gonna bother me. I should have came prepared for this. It was like something Barracuda or something like that, or I don't know. I'll look them up. I'll look them up in a bit. But they were very outlandish and very like stereotypical of them. But let me see if I can find some of them because they were great though. It was so funny.
Oh, it's so funny. Yeah, I told you there's a movie called Death to Metal where they have all these band names of these death metal bands that like Grandma Incinerator and everything. It's just, they're just having fun with it. Amanda says, I was lurking in the background watching regular show. Yes.
Yeah.
I became the lurker when regular show was on. For those of you out there that don't know, I don't like lurking behind people lurking behind me. So, but I became the lurker when regular show was on.
One of them was Barracuda Death Wish. They have the Urge. I can't think about the other ones, but funny stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. Good. Pretty funny cartoon. All right. Well, listen. What about now? You mentioned Chucky before. We've actually on my friend's channel. He's been on a slasher movie club. We've been watching some of them. We started with 2 actually, which I saw when it came out, so I kind of remember 2, and then we did 3, which I was not as familiar with. I actually want to go back and watch the original one, to be honest with you. But speaking of franchises, you got Child's Play, you got Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Which one of these franchises are you like more familiar with?
Probably. I mean, I'm familiar with like most of them. It's just like what do you mean in terms of familiar? Like which ones that I follow more closely? Which ones that
I don't remember watching. Yeah, I don't remember watching any of this stuff with you.
Oh no, so you didn't actually. I think it was. I think I watched it of my own accord because I was just like, interested in some of the topics. Scream never really got like. I know they're still going on in Scream. I mean, I think they're going on with like most of these actually, but Scream was like still prevalent today. I never really followed those just because I remember during like in high school and elementary school they would have like the Scream masks that with the blood, and I remember you guys would never let us get them for some reason. I don't know why, but I think maybe it was mom that stopped me from getting those. But it was I was like, oh man, I want to be one of the cool kids. I want like the Scream mask with the fake blood dropping from the face. I think like it's also like one of the reasons why like I never got why like I could never get those, but also like it was this is kind of a tangent, but why I can never watch the South Park episodes because I was like, oh, like it's a kid's show, like why can't I watch it? And then I realized why I couldn't watch it later on because like now it's like the humor is crazy. But yes, going back to Scream is still prevalent. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I know there's been different renditions of them since like the original, and I think some of them were pretty good actually.
Have you seen the original one?
If I saw scenes from it, I could definitely tell you. I've seen like 3 different variations of it. So like of the original, I think, or something like that. And I mean, it's like I can't pinpoint a certain scene, but I know there was one where like she went to like this pig stall and or like frozen pigs, or maybe it was like something with pigs. I don't know. She was like, hiding in that den. And then there was like another one where like it was with like the sheriff, I think. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like
I think that was the remake from 2006 probably.
Yeah.
They added like a sheriff character who was part of the family. Yeah.
Which was great. I think that was like I mean maybe because I couldn't see all of them, but like I thought that was like a great like kind of storyline to put in there.
Yeah, that was the remake.
Obviously all messed up. But I'm trying to think of the other ones, the other titles or franchises, but I told you before, like I wasn't into Chucky because it's just like it was just way too real for me. And then or like real for me, but what were the other ones that you mentioned? Friday 13th.
Yeah.
I don't think I followed that franchise that closely. A lot of slashers and whatnot. Yeah.
Let me just say hi to we got Derek's saying great horror movie stopped after the 90s and early millennium. I think there's still been some good ones, but I will say this: a lot of people, when something comes out like a Hereditary or something, a lot of people they want to like say it's an instant classic right away, and I don't know. A lot of times I see them and I'm like,
you know, not like Hereditary.
I like it, but it's not gonna have like the lasting power. And then he mentions like The Exorcist. He's talking about Nosferatu and Dracula, the Universal ones. It's not going to be like one of those immortal classics for me. I mean, there's still a lot of good ones. I get more excited about a movie like I think Nye knows about this one, a movie called Sissy, which actually I might want to see if I can watch with Amanda if I can convince her, because it's about influencers. It's about social media influencers. Which I knew nothing about it, and I watched it. I was like, wow, darn good and well acted. I get as excited about that as I do about like the next installment of something that I could very well end up being disappointed in if I see it.
Hmm.
Kind of like Halloween Ends. Uh,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
do you think that's like a generational thing? Like I'm not like pointing out anyone here, outing anyone, but do you think it's like because you guys grew up with those movies, like those are like the classics for you? Because
yeah,
I mean, I guess in my own experience, I would say like the classics for me are like The Conjuring, right, or
yeah.
Sinister, or um, trying to think of other ones that I've seen that were like that's really stood out to me. But those are like the first two that came up. Like The Conjuring, like the first one, I thought that was like great. Like, and every other one after that like has been good, but like not
Not
like
as good.
I feel like yeah, not as good.
Yeah,
But for me, those are like I wouldn't say the classics. I would say they're definitely of the generation that I grew up in, even though they were like released later on.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Those are a lot of those are really solid. Let me just say hi to
Mm,
Terrence. Hey, Terrence, and both Terrence and I agree that Sissy is so good. Definitely, definitely.
mm,
Way underrated. Still underseen. I'm trying to get as many people to watch it as possible. Um, Purge movies and The
mm.
Strangers. Yeah, The Strangers. The
I saw
Strangers.
movies too. Yeah,
Yeah, and well, you saw The Strangers, right?
yeah.
Okay.
That uh, was it Strangers or the others? I forget.
The Strangers
There's
is
so
home invasion where they're all wearing masks.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw that one. Yeah,
And then they I found the sequel at Dollar Tree, and because it was Dollar Tree, I was like, why not? So I bought it. It's
I
pretty
remember
much
that sequel.
just as good as the first one, The Strangers Pray at Night.
Mm.
Yeah, really, really good. Really good. Really good. Um, let's see. What else do you guys remember? Do you remember well, first of all, with as far as like Dracula and all those movies, those actually I've got my other son into. Um, so we watched all the original Universal monster movies and stuff. A lot of those weren't in rotation. If they had come on, I would have had you guys watch them, or at least I would have been watching them. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, Terrence. Instead of making a third one for The Strangers, I heard they're going to reboot it. I'm just like, oh, you could take this. I don't know, just why reboot it when you can do something different with the third one? I don't know. That's just me. But I remember. Let's see, what do I remember watching with you guys, or maybe not even with you guys, just having on in the apartment and you guys watching with me because there weren't too many other places to be.
I
um,
mean, there was like I know this is like not. I mean, I think it's considered just like a horror movie, but it's like I think it was also like very funny. I don't know if it was funny for this time or for their time, but like for this time when we watched it, it was like part of the Mystery Science Theater one. It was like the worms.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, see, here's the funny thing about that squirm, right?
Squirm. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. You got the worm face.
yeah.
The funny thing is, um, I definitely agree, man. No reboot for The Strangers. Make a third one. Um, oh, Amanda says Dracula with Keanu. That's as close as I've watched recently. Yeah, that was a while ago, Amanda.
With Keanu
Amanda,
Reeves.
we need to watch. I think I need to watch Sissy with Amanda. But the funny thing is, now that I've sort of started collecting some movies, like if I
Some.
find a cheap DVD, that's usually
Mhm,
good enough for me. But I know people that they still have some of them still have the VHS and they have the DVD and then they have the Blu-ray, then they have the
mhm.
20th anniversary and then they have the 4K. So I've seen a lot of guys that collect movies actually pick up like new editions of movies that were on Mystery Science Theater, like Squirm. And to me, it's
Mhm,
just funny. Or there was one called Alien from LA with I don't know, had some supermodel from back in the day, but they dubbed her voice and it was like real squeaky.
mhm.
But to see people like go out of their way to buy those movies. Now, having said that, some of the movies they had on Mystery Science Theater weren't that bad. You know what I mean? They were old and they were dated, but they were pretty good.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, yeah. I mean, I feel like maybe people buy them now for the nostalgia of
yeah.
them. It's like
Uh-huh.
I used to watch these as kids, and maybe I've seen these in like other, um, like in other shows like Mystery Science Theater where they brought up for like for that kind of comedic effect where it's like, oh, let's make fun of them. But maybe it's like I grew up with these movies and whatnot, and therefore I'm gonna buy it just for the like to have in my arsenal whenever I like want to watch something that like reminds me of the past or something.
Yeah.
Which is why like I think we still kind of cling on to like Disney movies because it's
Yeah.
like that's our childhood.
Right. Right. Oh, Amanda, you only watched it 3 months ago? Okay. Yeah, my friends just did the top 10 vampire list, and I was in my head, I was making my list. I don't know if that one would make the cut, actually. That Keanu Reeves one, I can't think right now. Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula. But yeah, I remember watching. Do you remember watching Village of the Damned or Children of the Damned with the little kids with the glowing eyes?
Okay, maybe you're talking to your audience because I have no idea
No,
what.
I remember. I mean, I remember I had that in the apartment once, and I know Sissy was like terrified.
It's called Children of the what?
Well, okay, so one of them is called Children of the Damned, and the second one is called Village of the Damned. I may have flip-flopped them around, but anyway, it's about kids that have these. We're all born at the same time and have glowing eyes and can like do mind control and stuff.
I feel like maybe. No, definitely not. Never seen that before.
Okay, you don't remember that one? Okay,
Nope.
I got one for you. How about the episode? Since Amanda's here too, the episode of Amazing Stories I had you guys watch about the professor, the college professor and the kids came to pull a prank on him, and I think he was carrying his own head around. Do you remember that?
Amanda, I'm gonna have to pull you in for this one. I have no idea what that one is. What's it called?
I don't remember the name of that episode. It was definitely part of Amazing Stories, the Steven Spielberg show, though.
Oh, I know. I mean, I think if you like bring up some maybe like what are these kind of like anthologies and like?
Yeah, it was an
Twilight Zone?
anthology show. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there was there was another episode called Hell to Pay, but it was like a comedy episode because it was about a guy's toupee that came alive. You remember that one? No?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I thought you guys were in the room when I was watching that, but it's been a long time. Yeah.
Does not ring a bell. Yeah, does not. Maybe they're like repressed memories because they were so horrific, but I don't recall those.
Well, well, the one with Christopher Lloyd about the college professor, might have fallen in a category of you guys were too young to watch it, but but it's not every episode of Amazing Stories was a horror episode. They were all wasn't a horror show specifically. So that it kind of snuck up on me. That's scary for you guys. But let's see, what else do we remember watching?
Oh wait, Terrence, was it actually called Hell to Pay? Was that the name
Hell
of
to
it?
Pay? That's the way you spell it.
Oh god, that's funny.
See, it's fun.
Yeah, they're clever.
It is. Now that one I did look up right before we started. That is on YouTube, that episode. But how about you guys remember Twilight Zone or Outer Limits at all?
Yeah, of course. I mean, like certain episodes of it. Yeah. I think there was like one where like there's like something like a monster on the plane, like on the wing of a plane. I don't know if that was. Do you recall that?
Okay. That was.
He was like.
Yep.
I don't know what I mean. Is that
was
no.
Was it in black and white or color?
I feel like it was in color.
Yeah, so that was from Twilight Zone the movie, which was a remake of one of the episodes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Terrifying. Yeah,
that was a good one. I remember we watched that now. Yeah, and Amanda says we did watch some Hitchcock. Yeah, we did. That's the one Amanda remembers. Yeah, it was in. Yep. So it was definitely the movie. I know we watched. I don't think we watched too many original episodes back in the apartment. Harry and I have watched some recently. Derek has to go to the gym and work on research for paranormal supernatural investigations, abandoned places, and some unsolved mysteries and murders. Thought I would drop by. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good luck with all that. Those were fun. And then when they rebooted the Outer Limits, I know Sis and I used to watch that. You guys remember that in Outer Limits that was in color? We control the TV. Remember that?
I hear it. I remember that. Yeah.
And she still doesn't let me live down that there was one where she figured out the plot twist before I did.
Yeah. That's what sis does with everything that she watches. She's like, oh, like she asks questions like what's gonna happen, and then like she like halfway through she's like, oh, this is what's gonna happen. I'm like, yes, I think we all know what's gonna happen, but it's like she has to get to the punch before everyone else does. So classic sis move.
Yeah. I got I know I watched this with Big Sis. Rear Window. Have you seen that? Did I watch that with you too?
Yeah, I don't know if you watched it with me, but I think I saw that. It was like a home and like invasion one, right? Or was that something else?
Well, not well. At the very end, yeah, but
yeah,
the whole movie is Jimmy Stewart in his apartment, watching the other apartments, and he figures out he murdered his wife, and
exactly, yeah.
Amanda saw it, and the birds. Yeah, we saw the birds. We saw some of that at Grandpa's a while ago. Yeah. But you know where I went to college, they have the Jimmy Stewart Museum because that's where he was born.
Mm-hmm.
So one of these days, when I take Harry back to Carnegie Mellon, we're going to try to stop by there, you know, stay overnight and check it out and stuff. So I'm going to have him watch a few Jimmy Stewarts before then.
Yeah, sure he'll get a kick out of that.
Yeah. And not only that, you know, he was like, speaking of Hitchcock, he was in a number of Hitchcock movies, you know, Vertigo and Rear Window, and then what was the other? We watched a couple other. Okay, Big Sis and I watched Bringing Up Baby, which is like a screwball comedy. Oh, Amanda, look what I got. Wait a minute. Oh. Darn it, I don't have it here. Oh, yeah, I do. Check it out, Amanda. Amanda and I watched this one.
What is that?
Chariots of Fire. Boy, I'm not good at putting that in the middle.
Chariots of Fire.
Chariots of Fire. So that might be a good one to watch with Big Sis eventually, if she can ever have time. But I thought I basically found a cheap copy. It's pretty good. Saw and The Birds and Birdemic. Yeah, well, Birdemic is classic Mystery Science Theater riff tracks type.
Did you see there was like a what's it called again? Echo's picture actually reminds me of it. It was like the Terrifier, I think it's called. You know what I'm talking about? It's like the clown that like
Terrifier. I've seen those.
Yeah. But do you see the second one that came out? I want to say kind of semi recently.
Yeah. Wait a minute. I have it right here.
You saw the second one?
Yeah, I have it right here.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, I tried to get through the first one, and it was like really hard to get through that one. And then I heard the second one was like even worse. I'm like, I can't watch this. Like I heard like in the theaters they like provided like vomit bags just because like just how gruesome it was. I'm just like Saw movies are one thing because you kind of know like the outline, like the of like what's gonna happen. But for these, it's just like anything goes. I'm just like, I can't do that. Like I need like some build up. I can't just have this guy like slashing and goring out everybody. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. It went on a little. The second one went on a little long. You know, the first one had
for your taste.
Yeah, it just was like there was like a climax, and then there was like more after that. I was like, well, boy, what's going on here? You know, but it was okay. I wasn't as hyped about it as everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think like there's a movie, I mentioned this the other day. Movies like this, The Devil's Candy, which not as many people know about, which features heavy metal protagonist that likes heavy metal. So of course I'm on his side, but I like discovering movies like that.
Part 3 coming out.
I'm pretty sure they're gonna make a part 3. Yeah.
I saw an interview with like the actor, and he's like he was like he's nothing like you would think. Like it's crazy like how cinema like just like portrays the characters, and then like in real life they're just like completely different people. I mean, obviously he's not like murderer or whatever, but like it's just the way they portray him. It's just gruesome.
Yeah, no, my friend interviewed him, and I actually asked him a question in the comments because yeah, a lot of people say that there's this thing going around that he studied mime for years and stuff.
Hmm.
And I didn't know that, but I just asked him. I said, "Have you ever studied mime?" And he said, "No, not specifically. I just just to play this part." But you still see that around, that people will describe him as a guy that studied mime to prepare for
Hmm.
the role. But yeah, he's a nice guy, and he was supposed to be on with my friend for an hour. He went on for like 2.5 hours. He just talked and talked and talked, but he's like super enthusiastic.
Hmm.
Um, Now my thing is, hopefully, yeah, they can top the gore for the third one, but just tighten up the plot a little bit, you know? That's only that's my thing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, Terrence thinks Echo is an executive producer on Birdemic. uh, yeah. Yeah, let's see. What else do you guys remember? Else do you remember watching, like way back in the day?
Uh, I don't know if Made still here, but I don't remember. Like if you brought it up, maybe it would come up, or I'd remember it. But like off the top of my head, I can't think of any.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Hmm, hmm. All right. Well, let me show off real. Oh yeah. Speaking of Hitchcock, duh. I just found this from eBay. As you can see, it's got remnants of a sticker on it.
Hmm.
It's like 20 Hitchcock movies for, it was like $6. But having said that, not really many of the more famous ones, you know. But
Hmm.
that was that's a pretty good deal. eBay's pretty cool, you know. Let's see. Amanda saw Jaws up to the point where the one guy gets bitten in half, and then she had nightmares, and then began her aversion to horror. Ah, man, see, I had you watch it too young, Amanda. I think the three of us watched that together, right?
We did. Yeah.
Me, Amanda, yeah, yeah, and then Harry and I
Yeah.
watched it later. Yeah, I actually want to watch Jaws 2 again. I saw that we went down to we used to go down to Ocean City for like a week every summer. Uh,
Hmm.
and we got there, and the back then you could rent a cable for like a weekend. So the people that were in the house before us had overpaid or something, so we still had cable. So us being us, we go to the beach. What do? We turn on the TV, you know. And Jaws 2 was
Obviously.
yeah, Jaws 2 was
Yeah.
coming on. So Grandpa, and John and I watched Jaws 2. Grandma was like, "What are we doing? We're supposed to be going to the beach." The funny thing is, like, we watched Jaws 2 and then we went to the beach. That was weird. That was really strange to go in the water like right after that. You know?
Mm.
But
Yeah.
the second one's not too bad. And I haven't seen it in years, so I want to check it out. Man, I didn't go into the ocean for years after seeing Jaws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those Wildwood trips were fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wildwood, Ocean City. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. We don't have as much cause to go down there anymore, you know.
Hmm.
And I remember actually going back, like when we would be in Ocean City for a week, it always seemed like, and we probably went like 3, 4 times, you know what I mean? Because
Hmm.
how many summers were there? But it always seemed like it rained 1 or 2 days during the week. And our family being our family, we would go to the movies. So I remember seeing one of the Pink Panther movies on the Boardwalk Theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they had like like Jaws themed ride there, or like it was called like white white claw, I mean not white claw, like white something, Great White or something like that. Yeah, I think it's called Great White.
Yeah.
It was in Wildwood, and obviously it probably wasn't inspired by Jaws, but it was like
Yeah.
something that kept us entertained and whatnot. But I remember also watching Jaws, and I was also terrified to go into the water.
Yeah.
Also, when Gong Gong lost his dentures, I was also terrified to go back in the water after that. So many reasons to be terrified. Yeah,
Yeah.
water monster, and also like that. Going back to the whole like anthem that anthology that we watched, the Creep Show. After seeing that one where they're buried alive again, I was like kind of I was very crazy, and kind of like obviously it's not going to make me averse to going to the water, but I thought that was a clever way of like producing those feelings of horror from like such an old not old, maybe it's not like crazy old, but like from an old, um, I guess skit or whatever, what have you. But yeah, definitely one of the scary ones of that anthology.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, definitely. And Echo said his brother had to throw him into a pool for him to get over his fear of water after watching a water monster movie marathon. Yeah, yeah. They had a whole bunch of those in like the 90s. Ocean creature
Yeah.
type movies, just tons of them.
You know
Yeah.
what also kind of scared me? It was like, and I just remember this, but it was like the X Files,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. I was gonna bring that up.
It
I
was
know
like
it scared you. Yeah,
it was like one of the like it was a tentacle that came out from like the drain or something,
yeah,
and like from
yeah,
a house,
yeah,
and like it just pulled someone through like grate. And I was like, how does that even happen? First off, but it was also like that really scared me.
yeah.
And for anyone that doesn't know, I can't speak for my sister, but um that theme song was terrifying. I don't know how they did it, but it was just like anytime it came on, the X Files theme song, I'd like run for the streets or to my bed or something. It's just so scary.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, they know what they're doing.
yeah. We watched, a good deal of X Files. We saw some pretty scary ones. I definitely want to show Harry one or two of those. There's a two-parter. The first one is called Squeeze, and the second one is called Tombs. It's the guy's last name. It's about a guy that can stretch his body.
Mhm,
That's a pretty good one. Uh, and then like to go back and you can pick out some pretty good ones, but they had that whole alien abduction subplot. So some of those would
mhm,
be hard to, if you just watched a random one, you wouldn't really know what's going on. But some of the sort of the monster, of themed ones would be kind of fun to revisit. And then I also
yeah.
got this for Harry and I to watch. As Harry, I've been having him watch some classic movies. So anyway, it's Aliens. We watched Alien.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna have him watch Alien. But we never watched Alien, I don't think, did we?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Actually, no. I think I don't know. There was like some, how there's like different versions of Alien, or maybe there's like Alien versus Predator, but there could be like Alien 2 or 3 or something like that. I don't know if that's actually a thing or not, but I remember watching one of them. It might have been the original actually. Now that I think about it, but I don't know if we ever watched it together. I know I watched it separately on my own. Um, yeah, but I don't recall. It's been some time.
Yeah. Terrence says the Incredible Hulk was the show for him. He would be behind the couch when it came on. When I was a
Mm,
kid, the Incredible Hulk actually made me like more sad than anything else. I
mm,
usually didn't I usually wasn't afraid of it.
mm,
Um, but the song they play at the end is called "The Lonely Man." It's got like a piano thing, and uh, they changed it around a lot from the comic books, and they called him. He wasn't Bruce Banner; he was David Banner, but he was like, people were trying to track him down, and he was like basically like a drifter, and he would get attached to people, and then the Hulk would come out, and then he would have to move on to and they would always play that sad music. It like got me every time. Uh,
mm,
and of course, the cool thing was when they had Lou Ferrigno cameo in the one Hulk movie.
mm.
Remember that? He was
Was
I think it
Sorry,
was
which one is that?
it's the second Hulk movie. I think we went to John's apartment to watch it. Anyway,
Yeah,
the guy that played the Hulk on TV did a cameo in one of the Hulk movies, which was pretty cool. Yeah, we used to when we were kids, man. I thought I was he was like the biggest guy ever. I mean, he was, he was big. Lou Ferrigno was big, but
mhm,
yeah. Amanda says after Jaws, she never let Dad choose movies for us to watch unless it was approved. So yeah, I don't think Amanda was in the room much when we watched X Files.
yeah. You know
Uh,
what? There was like I know. Sorry, going back to the franchise that we were speaking of before. I know like Hellraiser was never one that you showed us, but like I actually watched a few of those
yeah,
afterwards.
yeah.
Yeah. And then like Silent Hill. Did you ever watch that series or play games or anything like that?
I never played any of the games. I watched the movie years ago, and I don't remember much of it at all.
Okay. Um, I know like not considered technically a franchise, but it's more of a video game based thing. But Resident Evil, that was something. I mean, the live action, I never was never a fan of that, but like the actual animation movies of it was pretty good. I don't know if you could call it horror just because
Mm.
definitely not like ingrained in like the horror that like you guys know, but definitely something that like during I guess like a kind of part of that genre that I kind of grew up with. Um, trying to think of any others that I remember from that. No, I don't think I can, but did you have any of you ever played the game? I don't know if you guys are gamers or not, but it's like or even know if the game is called Dead by Daylight. It's like a horror game, like horror survivor, where it's like you're chased around by these like iconic. I mean, I think they had a DLC where there's many DLCs with like iconic, scary um, figures. Like there's like Jason, Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger. There's people from like the Ghostface from Scream, um, different iconic, you know, players or figures from these horror movies. And I saw because I work for like in the gaming department, we saw we went to like this thing called Games Fest, Summer's Games Fest recently, and out of nowhere, Nicolas Cage is actually like part of the next DLC, so he came on stage.
Oh,
But yeah, it was crazy, and he kind of he previewed the game, and I thought it was interesting that like I've never played the game before, but I thought like the concept is very interesting, where they bring these again like these iconic um, horror figures into a game where like they're chasing down these like four players, and um, obviously like I would love to try it sometime, but if you guys have played it before, I hear it's like really good.
Echo's played it. I know. Yeah, Echo's played it. I know he plays games. Yeah. All right, Amanda. Amanda had to go. See you tomorrow, honey. We're going out to lunch tomorrow.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, and I got to see Terrence mentioned something. I got to find this. Ferrigno was in an episode of The Fall Guy in a full Hulk costume. I did not know that, but I definitely got to find that clip of that. I love it when they used to do stuff like that in old TV shows when they would have somebody from another show pop in or something.
Mm.
Funny thing is, speaking of the Hulk, I mentioned that movie Duel before. I think it was Universal. Since they own the rights to that movie, there was an episode of the Hulk where there was a car chase.
Mm.
They just cut in clips from the movie Duel, and one of the cars didn't even match when they went back and forth. Apparently, Steven Spielberg was like pissed about it. He was like, "Who? You know, that's my movie," but actually, they owned it, so that's what.
Yeah.
That's what they used to do back then. But oh, they're going to make a Dead by Daylight movie. Echo says.
Oh wow, that's interesting. I would say actually that would be a really cool concept. Wonder how they would do that though. Like how they would make that any different from like your typical like slasher movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, well, let's see
Oh,
that.
Allison says, sorry she missed it. She had her hands full, and Maggie just turned over. Just turned over.
She texted you that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So exciting news.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what else? Speaking of movies, I still have not hooked up. I got to get into this stuff. You got me that projector. I still got to try that out outside. I even got a couple movies that would be good for that. Oh, you know what I got? Oh man, I got to watch outside is Mysterious Island. Remember I had you and Amanda watch that?
Mysterious Island.
Mysterious Island. A giant crab, giant hornets.
Oh yeah. That wasn't a horror movie though. That was just like
adventure.
Was that related to like 1,000 Leagues Under the Sea or something like that? Yeah.
Captain Nemo shows up.
Captain Nemo. Yeah. That was great. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was I don't know if I would call that a great movie, but I would say that's definitely a classic for me.
It's entertaining as heck. I mean, the book is actually kind of boring. There's no monsters or anything like that in the book. The book is about pirates and stuff, but especially, Ray Harryhausen, the special effects legend, did all the special effects, and they just threw like everything but the kitchen sink in there. A baby chicken, which was, of course, giant size. But yeah, it's a classic. So yeah, Harry and I haven't watched that one yet, so I thought maybe that would be fun to watch outside. I don't know why. I'm associating that one with one to watch outside. I guess it's maybe like a drive-in movie or something. But
yeah, seems like one.
Echo says Blumhouse and James Wan are doing the Dead by Daylight movie. Yeah, definitely sounds pretty cool.
It does sound good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all right, buddy. Well, I don't want to keep you too much longer. I just wanted to, hang out with you for a little bit and
Of course. You know,
talk movies. When you
yeah,
when you,
happy.
I heard you were in the area, but now you're back. And when do you think you're going to be back again?
I'm gonna try to be back for Yo-Yo's. Maybe not her birthday because I know they're going to Portugal. I think
Yeah,
so. Maybe like late August, early September. On that time, I'm gonna try to see if I can take a few weeks to come
yeah,
back, and then I have to plan out the holidays because I don't know if I can come back for all of them, like Thanksgiving and December.
right, right.
Fly back and whatnot. But we'll choose those battles, and we'll
Yeah,
see what happens then.
yeah. Hey, maybe I'll come out and see you, man, because I'll be done
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Harry's coming out here at the end of the month
at the end of
for
this
Anime
month for your
Expo.
convention.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So what kind of convention is it again?
Anime Expo. Yeah,
Anime Expo. Okay, cool,
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Terrence, definitely. Happy Father's Day, Dan.
Yeah,
Teacher
thanks, man.
Dan. That's what we
Thanks.
call him. Yeah.
Yep, yep. All righty.
All right.
All right, man.
Thanks for
Well,
having me. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We'll have to get a report from you and Harry about the convention and everything. And but thanks for coming on with me, bud. All right.
Of course. Yep.
All
Happy
right.
Father's Day. Yeah.
All right,
Thanks.
guys.
Thanks for having me, guys.
I'll see you
Bye.
guys later.